New, truly shocking details have emerged about the nighttime attack on Moscow on May 17. This was the largest attack on the Russian capital since the beginning of this war, and let me say the main thing right away. These are not just strikes on some random city. This is a systemic breach of 4 layers of air defense that Vladimir Putin has been building for years, specifically to protect Moscow and to protect the Kremlin. Let me remind you, before May 9th, almost all air defense systems from all over Russia were brought to Moscow. But it turned out that even this didn't help Moscow. In addition, it became clear exactly what Ukraine used in the attack and what to expect next. There are several important points here that really scared the Kremlin and gave hope to Ukraine. After all, while everyone was watching Moscow, Ukrainian drones actually attacked several other key targets in Russia far from here. So, let's break everything down step by step. My name is Alexei Pichi, let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel and like this episode. And write your comment under this video. You can do it now or at the end of the episode, because it's very important for promoting content on YouTube. I would be grateful to you for that. And besides that, subscribe to my Telegram channel, Peachy News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So, at the beginning, let me briefly remind you where exactly the Ukrainian Defense Forces struck. On the night of May 17th, one of the largest Ukrainian attacks on Moscow took place. Russian air defense systems were operating in several cities of the Moscow region at the same time. In Zelenograd, a fire broke out after the attack or the operation of the Russian air defense. Explosions were heard in Khimki, Lobnya, Narofominsk, Klin, Skodnya, Dedovsk and Durykino. I'll say this right away. If I put the stress in the name of this Mokshan city in the wrong place, I don't care. I deliberately don't even want to remember the names of cities in wild Russia. I absolutely don't care what the correct names of the cities are somewhere out there in the swamps. Period. Where did they hit? The sanctioned Angstrom semiconductor manufacturing plant was struck by drones. We are in Zelenograd. The Elma Technopark was also attacked. A fire broke out there. In this technopark, they produce electronic equipment, control and measuring instruments, optical equipment, carry out material processing, conduct research activities, and work in the field of information technology. Ukrainian drone strikes were also recorded at the Solnekhnogorskaya oil products loading station, located in Durykino village, Moscow region. A fire also broke out at MKB. MKB Raduga is a Russian mechanical engineering design bureau. It is located in the city of Dubna, Moscow region, and they produce cruise missiles and components for them there. Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport was also closed.
There.
There, yeah.
It's smoking. Looks like it was shot down.
That's Khimki, just so you know.
Khimki is getting hit.
But damn, this is just some kind of mess.
Короче, сначала сюда один дрон влетел, потом второй влетел.
Охренеть.
Now let's talk about what exactly the Ukrainian Defense Forces used to attack the Russian Mokshan capital. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine officially confirmed that the Defense Forces used Ukrainian developments, RS-1 Bars, FP-1 Firepoint, that very Firepoint drone, Bars, SM Gladiator and others. So these are all purely Ukrainian long-range drones. Russia announced the alleged downing of drones, 556 drones, and this alone speaks to the scale of this attack. The previous record was on May 7th, 347 drones. Before that, on March 25th, 389. Now, 556. As you can see, the numbers keep increasing each time. And every time Moscow claims a complete interception, but somehow oil refineries catch fire and debris falls on airports. Now, the most important thing, what do we need to understand about this whole story, and every viewer as well? The Moscow region is the most fortified air zone in all of Russia, absolutely the most fortified in the whole country. Around Moscow, and in Moscow itself, there are 4 layered lines of air and missile defense. This is the outer ring around the entire Moscow region. The second is the middle ring, the third ring follows the Moscow Ring Road, and the inner city air defense ring. These are literally the panzer systems themselves, on rooftops and towers all over Moscow. And here's what's critically important in this story. On the night of May, 17 Ukrainian drones broke through 3 out of 4 of these lines of defense. This is the best result of the whole war. Look at the strike map to understand the scale. Zelenograd is the 4th and 3rd air defense line they've been breached. A direct hit on the Elma Technopark and the Engström Enterprise. The SBU reports, quote, "The enterprise is important. It's a component of the Russian military-industrial complex, and it is involved in the production of microelectronics, radioelectronics, optical systems, and robotics for the enemy's military needs." Next, this is Kapotnya or Kapotnya. This is already the inner zone of Moscow. That is the 2nd and 3rd lines of air defense. As a result, there was a fire at the Gazprom-Neft Moscow oil refinery. This is one of the key fuel suppliers for Moscow and the central region. Its capacity, 12 million tons of oil per year. It produces gasoline, diesel fuel, and aviation kerosene. Next, Solnechnogorsk. This is again the inner air defense zone. That is the 2nd and 3rd lines of defense for Moscow. The Transneft oil pumping station in Durekino was hit. This is a crucial logistics hub for oil supply. Additionally, strikes on the oil pumping station in Volodarskoye have been confirmed, so several facilities were hit in just one night. Oil infrastructure of central Russia. Next, Sheremetyevo. Drone debris fell on airport grounds. As a result, one of the largest airports in Russia is closed. At the same time, restrictions have been introduced at Vnukovo, Domodedovo, and Zhukovsky. Krasnoyarsk, Krasnodar, Nizhny Novgorod. These are also additional regions that were under attack. But it's important for us to understand one thing in this story. Ukrainian drones have successfully broken through 3 of the 4 lines of Moscow's layered defenses. And that's not even taking into account that they had to somehow get there, passing through several regions. The Russians have pulled a huge number of systems into Moscow. But density doesn't make up for the quality and quantity of our Ukrainian drones. The drones come in waves at ultra-low altitudes and from several directions. This is a classic tactic for exhausting air defenses. And now Moscow is no longer far from the front line. No. Today Ukraine clearly showed that the war can be where no one expected it. Russia has already stated that there are, of course, casualties. In Khimki, 1 person was killed and 1 is under the rubble. In Mitishchi, 2 people were killed. According to the governor of the Moscow region, Vorobyov, 3 people were killed in the region and 4 were injured. The debris from the Russian air defense system fell directly onto residential buildings, and it was this that led to more casualties among the civilian population. It's important to note that Moscow wasn't the only place under attack, and that's what's interesting. The thing is, while all the defenses were focused on Moscow, the strikes hit occupied Crimea. The security service of Ukraine simultaneously attacked the Belbek military airfield. A destroyed Pantsir S-2 anti-aircraft system, a hangar with a radar for the S-400 system, an Orion UAV control system, a ground control station for UAVs, a forepost, a ground-to-air data relay point, a control tower, and a hangar at the airfield. So, while Moscow was distracted by the drones, Crimea received a separate strike on its entire military aviation infrastructure. And remember, Putin removed part of the air defense from all over Russia to protect his own ass in Moscow. The attacks spread further. Ukraine struck a Project 10,410 Svetliak border patrol ship in the port of Kaspiysk. Note that this is Dagestan. That is, Ukraine is already taking out the Russian fleet in the Caspian Sea, which was once considered untouchable. I should note that from the Caspian Sea, the Russians attacked not only Ukraine but also Syria at one time, and no one could reach them there. It seemed like it was some kind of internal sea for the Russians and Iranians, and supposedly it was an absolutely untouchable zone. Now ships are burning there. In addition, within a day, a Torem 2 air defense system was hit in Donbas, and a train carrying fuel and lubricants was also struck. Thus, in just one day, Ukraine struck targets from Moscow to the Caspian Sea. Zelensky, by the way, made the following statement today, quote, "A good wave of our diplomatic strikes is providing Ukraine with this opportunity." The distance to the targets this time is more than 500 kilometers. This is also important because the Moscow region is the most densely equipped with Russian air defense systems. They are protecting their seat of power. But Ukraine's long-range moves are already getting past it. Russians need to think about their own oil refineries, about their own enterprises, and not about how to ruin other people's lives in Ukraine, in Moldova, or in any other neighboring country. I'll leave it at that. As usual, share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell. It's very important so you get notifications and don't miss new episodes. And subscribe to my Telegram channel Peachy News. The link is in this video's description. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so with any donation using the links and details in the description of this video. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye everyone.